Everyone, welcome back to the Wealth Accelerator, where we help you achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. I've got my boy, one of my best friends in the world, Josh Garena here. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Dang, can't believe you're on the show, bro.
I
Excited to have
know.
you.
We've been talking about it for a while, and so I'm glad to be here, man.
You're even wearing an STRIQ hat. Dang, you got to
Dude,
represent.
gotta rep it. Gotta rep.
I love it, man. You look good in that. Well, hey, I know we were talking, we were going to even talk without the show because you're an investor. You've got a property in Seaside, Florida. And you've been dealing with the big question many of you out there may be facing: do I manage or do I have a property manager manage? And currently you've got a property manager, but you've been debating, should I go ahead and manage? And we thought, you know what, let's get on the show. Let's record this together because not only do we think I can, create a successful outcome for you for your property in Seaside, but maybe the insights that we talked through today will help a lot of other people. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Dude, of course, man. Yeah. Yeah, when we bought it, I guess in July of this past year, it had a property manager in place, and the whole plan was for me to always take it over. And then, having the property manager in place, it would just made it for an easy transition. And then I just kept putting it off. And then, you know, I hear so many other people getting renters, right now, and, just here and there through the winter months. And we haven't gotten a single one to the property manager. So I'm just trying to make sure like time is being devoted where it needs to be devoted. And at the same time, like, how do we maximize the wealth of this condo, right? So
Yeah, and this is where, there's another guy, Hunter Haley. He's one of our best friends that has a condo literally like steps away from yours. And I've got one probably like 2 miles away. And we were all talking, and Josh was like, "And how are your guys, condos doing?" We're like, "Well, it's a little slower during the winter months, but, I'm still getting some bookings here and there, and, it's nice
I
that
haven't
you'll."
got one since October.
We got one. And so Hunter and I have like, "Dude, you've gotta switch over." There's some property managers that are good, but, no one's gonna love your property as much as you. And I'll never forget when I was buying my property in Fredericksburg, dude, the amount of fear I had was, like, unreal. And so I can feel the fear that you probably even have now, and I've had another student I've worked with that is, like, super scared to do it too, but
Oh yeah.
give you some hope, like, "Dude, it's
Yeah.
easy. You got it."
Yeah, because that's the thing that, was on my mind was, I'm up for a new position at work. I've been working a lot more hours and just the time that is gonna go into it. So, but no, you've convinced me to take the leap of faith.
I love it, man. Well, okay, before we get into, like, practical steps of, like, what you need to do now, give us a little bit of context on, like, your story leading up to buying the condo. Like, why'd you buy it? When did you buy it? Like, what does that look like? And then fast forward us to where we are now on the management stuff.
Yeah, so, we were blessed to be, to have some cash on hand we wanted to get into investment. We had been in stocks and, did some crypto, as you know, and,
Did you
wanting
stay
to
in the
just
crypto? Did you sell out?
I sold a lot of it, but, I'm maybe we're buying back in soon, we'll see. But, essentially, I just want to diversify a little bit. I work in the real estate industry. I work for We Buy Ugly Houses. I'm the financial controller there. So I see all of these franchises getting into either flips or short-term rentals or long-term rentals and just getting in the real estate market. And from talking with like you and Hunter and all these other successful franchises that I'm managing the corporate account for, you know, it, it just came to a realization that, real estate is rarely a bad investment, right? So started looking around. We were looking in like the Broken Bow area because we love Oklahoma. We love that town. And then we started, but we also love Seaside, 30A. We wanted our first investment to be somewhere that, the family would go, something that necessarily wasn't going to like be a huge cash cow, more so than, obviously would love that. But the main focus was going to be somewhere where, our family would want to go. As you know, we got two little girls in ages 2 and 4. So we ended up this condo. uh, Hunter had talked to the owner and, realized that the owner was pretty desperate to sell because they were building another house that was contingent on them selling. So we offered 75 grand under asking, just not even expecting them to negotiate with us. And it's like, God things of, you know, if the door continues to open, let's keep moving forward. And we negotiated, ended up settling 65 grand under asking. So uh, just put it out there. We got it for 459. Comps are going for 520 up. So, there's
And
a
it's
few
two-bedroom
on the
condo, 2 bath?
yeah, 2 bed, 2 bath, 800 square feet. So it's small, but it's right there on the beach side of 30A, so you don't have to cross 30A to get to the beach.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally steps from the beach. It takes you what,
Yeah,
like 60 seconds to get
yeah,
there?
it's probably a 70-yard walk-ish, maybe, and it's a pretty short boardwalk. Like, it's probably like a 40, 50-foot boardwalk, so
And to be that close, have a two-bedroom, take the kids, underneath 500 grand, I
yeah.
mean, that's pretty awesome, in Seaside.
So, if anything, even that, we were thinking with this investment, even if we weren't, seeing, positive cash flow every single month, years down the road, we felt like we got in at a low enough price where it would be worth it to make that investment. So, yeah, so we settled on that one and pulled the trigger, and we got in July of this past year. And, just getting it off the ground with the property manager, it needed a lot of, like, updating, like, interior-wise. So, the property manager was actually nice to work with at the start from a perspective of me that we bought it sight unseen. We're in Dallas, so it's a 12-hour drive. It's not too bad of a flight, but, we didn't go down there, and we were right in the peak season, so we were wanting to get renters in and everything, so we ended up buying just everything on Amazon, shipping it down there, and then I paid a handyman 500 bucks to, switch out all the fans, all the fixtures, and, he did all this patchwork, put up curtains, and
Do you work
they
with David out there?
do what?
Did you work with David?
No, I mean, it was the handyman of the property manager at the
Oh,
time.
okay, gotcha.
They kinda helped coordinate everything, but, and then he just knocked it all out in one day, just had everything shipped from Amazon over there, and, it turned out really good. We were really happy with how it turned out, so, yeah, so and then they did all of that, and then we went and visited it in September for the first time, and then we did 9 days, just this past, like, December, January, kinda over New Year's, and we were talking, and we're like, I think we can do this ourselves." So, and then I was talking with you, and you're like, "You for sure can do it yourself." So,
Well, let's get into, like, okay, so thank you for the context, but let's get into why do you wanna do it yourself versus have the property manager? And, there's some thoughts I have, but I'll let you kinda start. Why are you making that decision now?
there's a couple perspectives of it. One of them is just making sure that we're utilizing and putting enough effort into getting as many renters as we can. Whereas, the current property manager, I don't have anything bad to say about them at all, but they have like 25 properties that they're managing. I don't know how much traffic we're, getting kind of prorated to our condo, just because even in the peak season, and I know it's like a brand new listing on Airbnb, we just still didn't get as much as I was anticipating. And I think that could have been from a lack of attention, right? And so, if he has other condos that he can make more revenue off of course, they're going to drive, renters to those condos versus ours. So just making sure we're able to do that. And then the second one was talking to CPA. Although I am a CPA, will have a CPA for tax stuff and everything. So they're saying it would be we wanted to cost segregate, and anyone can do that, but to be able to take the income against our or the losses or expenditures against our earned income or W-2 stuff, we needed to put 750 hours into the condo, and so the best way to do that is to manage it ourselves. And so my wife works at the elementary just down the road. She's a speech therapist, and so she's got summers off. She's got holidays and all that, those times off, when, when we're going to have the largest amount of renters. So from a conservation standpoint, to get that bonus depreciation and everything back, we're hoping to be able to do that in 2025. So those were the two kind of bigger deciding factors to take it over.
Okay, and what you had some fears, it felt like, just having discussions, like, what was going through your mind of, like, what kinda held you off for a while? Just I think we talked about this a little in the beginning, but what was going through your mind then, and what's going through your mind right now? Because, like, right now, you haven't taken it over fully. We're in the beginning stages of it, and so there's probably a lot of people just like you that are thinking, "In this moment, I could just stick with the property manager and keep it easy, or I could take over and face my fears." What are those fears you're dealing with right now?
Yeah, I think a big part of it was just time, right? My boss quit in June, and so I've been taking over his work, hoping to step into that position. And so just the time that it takes to manage it, I think was the biggest like kind of fear
Okay,
drive.
so mostly time.
And just if it's gonna take more time away from the family, or, if I am I can't always, like, respond quickly on my phone, as you know. You'll text me or call, and it takes me
Probably better
forever.
than you.
So, I mean, it's just, being able to, you know, um, address renters, in a timely manner whenever they're messaging of like, "Oh, like, what's the code?" Whatever it might be, like, if they have
Yeah.
questions, just wanna be able to make sure that I'm prioritizing being able to respond to them. And so, yeah, a big part of it's the time and just my responsiveness to that. And so those were 2 big things, that kind of came into play, like, right when we bought it, when they expecting, my boss to quit and me working all this extra time. So, having that property manager in place, I was like, I just didn't have to do any of that, but being able to think about cost segregating and the extra, and just seeing the statements every month, in the summers when we were getting renters, um, I'm seeing how much we were actually paying them. We were at 20, I think it was like 20 to 22% of, of the rental income was going towards them. And then, you know, you, you, you have all the other fees too. Like, whenever the hurricanes hit Florida, they had like $150 fee for hurricane preparation, which I still never got an
Not
answer
sure
of
what they
how.
did?
I don't yeah, well, I don't know what they did to prepare for the
Okay.
hurricane when the hurricane ended up missing us. And then Milton came through, and, we had another charge of $150, for hurricane preparation, and that one wasn't even close to us, and I still don't know what hurricane preparation meant. So
Oh,
there's
man.
other little fees on top of that and everything, and so that,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
that was not a part of it.
Well, I remember when, I was taking over my condo. So we bought ours, I think it was like 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was our 2nd Airbnb we got, and, we bought it sight unseen as well, just like you did, but it was more of a crazy market, so we had to. And, I was like, "Man, crap, can I manage a property, like, 12 hours away or 10 hours, however far it is?" And I was like, "Well, let's just do it, we'll figure it out." And, so we did it, and I kinda did what you did. I kept the property manager on for a little while, more because I was kinda scared at the time, and I still wanna figure out everything out for managing that far away that soon. We had summer coming up. I didn't wanna miss out on all these bookings by messing it up. So I stayed on with the property manager, and then about a year later, I wasn't having the performance that I thought I could have had. So, you and I talked, we used STRIQ to really evaluate the comps and revenue. I did the same thing with mine, and it was underperforming when I had the property manager. And I was like, "Man, what the heck is going on? Like, these comps seem so good." And so what I realized is, well, I started asking questions. I went to the property manager. I said, "Hey, here's what I thought I was gonna make, is there anything we can do to make it better?" He's like, we can try this and that." But then I started digging further. They didn't have the property listed on Airbnb, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" They had it on VRBO and their direct booking site, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." Like, I know VRBO is probably more prevalent there, but, like, you gotta be on Airbnb too. And they're like, "Well, it's just not as, friendly to the owners." I'm like, "I don't care. Like, it is when it comes to financials, making some money. Anyway, I had to argue with them, and they never put it on. So I was like, "Hey, look, guys, I'm gonna make an ultimatum. Like, either you guys put on Airbnb or I'm gonna have to take this over." And they just were like, "Hey, go for it." So I was more forced into it, which I'm glad I did now. And I think your situation is, they do have it on Airbnb and all the sites, but what I've noticed
Well,
with a lot
actually,
of
just Airbnb and their website, they don't have it on VRBO,
Are you
so it's
serious?
yeah, just those 2.
Oh my gosh, this is the first I'm hearing of this. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you were doing the right thing because
Just
here
Airbnb and their website, yeah.
are you no way. So then, okay, why in the world would a property manager do this? So, you know why they would actually? This is what I found out. They're trying to guide everyone to their direct booking site. Why? Because they make more money there.
Right, right.
So, that's the name of the game for a lot of property managers out there is they try to drive them to the direct booking site, get them off Airbnb or VRBO. They make more money. They can have control, more SEO search to that site. And again, there's a lot of good property managers, but there's some that sounds like ours were not the best. They're nice people. They're great people, but
Nice people.
no one's gonna love your property as much as you. So, anyway, I'm not glad to hear that, but I'm glad to hear what we're doing now because I've evaluated that market and we get more of our bookings on VRBO than we do Airbnb.
Oh,
So
really?
if you
Okay.
haven't received more income that you've wanted to receive, it's probably 'cause it's not being listed on the main platform there.
I'm laughing so I don't cry, right? That's it.
So, okay, so anyway, this is what we're gonna accomplish. We're gonna get you set up. Okay, you've already confirmed with the property manager that you're switching over, so that's number 1. Like, you've decided in your mind you're gonna do it. That's step 1. Step 2, we're gonna get you set up on Airbnb, VRBO, and you've given it what was the deadline with the property manager you're gonna take over?
Yeah, and they require 30 days, but they said, if we can transition sooner than that, then we will. But yeah, the official day as of right now is February 23rd.
So February 23rd. Okay. So we got about 30-day, 1-month window, which is perfect. So now what we're gonna do today is build out a game plan that you can take forward to fully transition and have a successful, amazing outcome on the other hand of this, and still have your time so that you're not having to be stressed out, messaging guests all the time and all that stuff. So the things that we talk about today hopefully will give a lot of insights for other people and how they can also be successful. So, if you're ready to rock, let's do this thing, man.
Let's jump in.
So, okay, you've already done step 1. You've decided in your mind you're gonna do this. That's honestly the hardest part. Step 2, you've confirmed with the property manager the day that you want them to cut off, and they've blocked off the calendar for the rest of that time. Because the last thing you want is that calendar open, and then you have all these delayed bookings that you gotta deal with later. And it sounds like they weren't booking anything anyway, so there's nothing after February 23rd. Anyway,
Nothing after, nothing before.
so that's good problem to have, I guess, to deal with because some students I work with, they have to figure out how to transition some of these bookings, which that's a conversation for later. There's a few different ways you can handle that. Okay, so now the next step is you've got 30 days to really figure out how you wanna do that. So we talked about before getting on this call, you need to start drafting your Airbnb and VRBO listings. Now, the key with that is you wanna draft them, but don't actually take them live. You wanna get them, like, 99% done or really, really close, and be careful, like, on Airbnb, sometimes, like, I'll, like, be going quick, and it'll, like, publish it, and you're like, "Crap," and I wanna unpublish it real quick because what you wanna do is as soon as you hit publish, that's when the algorithm starts, and you wanna start immediately getting bookings, like, as fast as you can, because that'll spur the algorithm and then force your listing higher within the listings there, and there's a bunch of listings in Santa Rosa Beach or Seaside, Florida. So, you wanna be ready when you click that button that, "Hey, you're ready to rock and roll." So, do you have pictures for the property that you can take over
Yeah.
from the property manager?
Well, we actually independently, hired a photographer, the one that you had suggested, and got our own pictures, whenever we got all the new decor and furniture and all that stuff in there. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. You got
Yeah, we
pictures.
we own those, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then what we're gonna wanna do is, it's a process. You're gonna need to set up the description, all the make sure and really go through the amenities. And when I can't remember if I told you this or someone else, but, really the hardest part of managing an Airbnb is, like, the setup. Like, that's the most unfun part, because then after that, you get it on autopilot, and you just let it run, and you manage it like you'll probably manage it like 10 minutes a week. I mean, it's gonna be super easy and simple. Just the sucky part and the hard parts right now, just getting everything set up. So you wanna make sure, man, be as robust as you can in the descriptions, really highlight, the amenities or the experience they're gonna have or how close they are to, like, really cool, locations. I mean, you are so close to the beach, so
Right,
close to, like, the Seaside Square and all these things, so, like, you wanna really highlight that. And then the key in the listings are the top 5 pictures are the most important, with the first picture obviously being the number 1 important thing. When you're on Instagram or any social media, just think, like, when you're scrolling through, like, there's always, like, you know, some scroll-stopping image that gets your attention. That's what you wanna think about with your first image is, like, how can I get someone to stop on my listing and pause and start scrolling? And the next 4 pictures will be the ones that if they'll decide if they wanna really book or not.
so would you, and thinking of that, would you have it of the interior of the condo, or would you have it kind of more beach looking?
Well, I kinda like to test it out. So, like, one thing you could do is on Airbnb, you could try the exterior. On VRBO, you could try the interior, and then you could try that out for, like, 30 days and then swap. And just see what performs better. I used to have the exterior on mine, but then Amanda was like, "No, Matt, come on, do the interior." So then I ended up doing the interior because our interior, we just redid it and it looks really good. So, it just kinda depends, but you just want something that looks really sharp, that tries to, like, separate you from the pack and makes people think, "Oh, I could imagine myself staying there."
In there, right, right.
Yeah. And the other big thing to think about is, like, last year, like, it everyone was focused on well, the year before that, like, everyone was just getting Airbnbs, and you could just, like, throw it up and then be successful. Last year, really, you had to really start diving into, like, design and amenities to separate yourself from the pack. And, kinda what we're going into this year is kind of the same thing, design and amenities, but also really trying to showcase the experience people will have there with, like, their kids or whatever. So you may even wanna think, like, about some lifestyle pictures. I know you've already take pictures or taken
Right,
pictures, but I know lifestyle pictures, I was kind of against it, but we did that for our College Station house, and it's crushing it because it just showcases that experience that people would imagine themselves having there.
right. Yeah, get the, like, the family out on the beach and do some of that stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
And it could even be you and your family, like, just tell your photographer to go out there and, like
You
I
know?
mean, that's who's gonna be
Showcase
your
the
guest.
dad bod?
Showcase that dad yeah, I had to get in the hot tub for mine, so I had
Yeah,
to showcase my dad bod too. So, yeah, that's kind of the number 1 step is getting those listings set up. Then, after that, and this isn't as big of a deal when you only have 1 property, but if you scale, you're gonna really need a property management system, PMS system, and the big ones out there's a bunch of them, but I currently use Guesty for host for 3 of my properties, and then I use Hospitable, for one of them. Now, honestly, I personally feel like they're kinda similar. There's different pros and cons of both. For you, I'm kinda thinking it would be good to start with Hospitable
yeah,
as the one you go with, because they've got some really cool, like, AI features being integrated, like with guest messaging. They already have, like, pre-populated guest forms and all this
oh,
stuff.
that's huge. Yeah,
So, like,
that
literally,
is
like, when you go download it, all you gotta do is connect your calendars from VRBO, Airbnb, so that it doesn't, like, double book dates, and then it'll already have, like, pre-scripted messaging, like, when someone inquires on your space, like, it'll automatically, like, send it out and say, "Hey, thanks, Hunter, for inquiring on my space. Look forward to talking" whatever it is.
Oh, without me having to respond at all?
Right. So it has all that kind of already pre-populated. All you gotta do is go tweak it based on what sounds more like you and your unique experience you wanna provide. But it'll have so this is where it gets cool and, like, the time management thing. So, basically, when you get all that set up, it's gonna handle all that for you moving forward. So, like, when someone inquires on your property, it'll automatically send out, "Hey, thanks for reaching out, blah, 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 like, hope that we're able to host you, please go and book." And then when someone actually books, "Hey, thanks so much for booking. We look forward to hosting you. Here's the check-in instructions. We'll give you the door code the day of. When you get there, here's, what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Here's the checkout instructions, blah, blah, blah." And then the day that they get there, "Hey, so excited to host you today. Here's the door code as a reminder. Here's the address." And then just all this stuff. And then it'll even do like a check-in message, like halfway through. "Hey, hope everything's going good. Like, let me know if there's anything you need." And then checkout instructions and literally it's just like doing it
Yeah.
automatic. So they feel like they're being loved
There's
on the
yeah,
entire journey.
yeah. I didn't hear about that feature. That's nice.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. And then it, like, gives the checkout instructions, and then, I mean, sometimes, like, this weekend, I just hosted, 3 different guests at 3 different properties, and I literally checked my phone, like, maybe twice all weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mostly because one guest today was like, "Hey, do you mind if I get a little later checkout? I have a flat tire, and I need to get AAA to come out there." I'm like, "Absolutely, go
Mm,
for it."
nice.
So that's the extent of, like, the guest messaging when you have to, like, actually get on there is when you have kind of a unique situation where they're like, "Hey, can I get a later checkout for this reason?" And you can either do it or you could charge extra. There's all sorts of things you could do.
Yeah. Okay,
So
nice.
that's I don't know, step 3 or 4, somewhere in there. Now, the next step, once you get all that set up, then there's another, step, we'll just call it step 5 for fun, Price Labs, which is an automated pricing tool. So, whenever I bought my property in Fredericksburg, the seller did not use automated pricing. They literally just, like, put in $275 per night, like, for all the nights. And so, they got booked a lot. It was, like, the only
Besides
pricing they had.
revenue, yeah.
Like, high occupancy, but, like, pricing didn't change. Well, when I got in there, I used Price Labs, and it changes your pricing based on supply and demand of the weeknights and the weekends and the time of year. And so we increased our revenue by, like, 20 or $30,000 per year because we have automated pricing, like, automatically doing it because it's way smarter than me. So, that's what you're gonna wanna do is use Price Labs. There's another one called Wheelhouse, I think, but I like Price Labs. Uh, I'm biased on it. So I think you should use that one for now. It's really good. Honestly, I think they're the best in the industry, and, um, and that will help you not even have to think about what to even price.
So, and then on Price Labs, if there's, like, a time where, we are wanting to just, like, get, like, a last minute booking or something like that, will it let you kind of override it and then bring the price down over the next, like, few days or anything like that?
If you get a last minute booking and you're trying to say that again?
Like, say I just wanna, like, get someone in, say rents are down or for whatever reason.
Oh, like a vacancy's coming up.
Yeah, and I just wanna get someone in there. Can I manually override it to put it at, like, 150 bucks a night or whatever it might be?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so, like, prime example, College Station House for me, oftentimes nights can go for, like, $1,400 a night up to, like, UT A&M was, like, 5 or $6,000 a night,
That's wild.
which is kinda crazy. So, like, now we're in the winter months, so it's kinda gone down, but it's, like, on average, like, 1,400 bucks a night. But what you can do with the price labs, and I'll teach you this later, is you can set these criteria where you've got your pricing, but as you get closer to the date, you can set discounts that start applying as you get closer. So my pricing went from 1,400 down to 1,200, down to like 900, down to like if the weekend's coming up like tomorrow, down to like 600 bucks. And then not only that, it goes from a 2-night minimum stay down to a 1-night minimum stay so that it's like it ups your chances of getting booked by decreasing pricing and reducing the number of minimum night stays. So
Just
that's
to get people in there,
and the
right?
cool thing is, like, Price Labs will like, kind of script you through it and say like, "Hey, based on your location and your comps, here's what we would recommend," and it'll even get you started with like a template. Then you just go in and kind of like fine tune it.
Right. Right. Okay, nice. Yeah, this is, helping calm the nerves. That's for
It's all like, it's so automated, it's not even funny, it's awesome. And then so, okay, Airbnb, VRBO, property management system, let's go with Hospitable for now. Guest fee's also good, but let's do Hospitable. Price slabs. Then once you get all that done, I would like to look at it together, and
yeah,
then that's where I can go into all of it and give some recommendations, and we can fine
okay.
tune it. And then when all that's ready to roll, then what we're gonna do is block off your calendar for anything before February 23rd, and then we'll open it up for everything beyond that. And then what we'll do is when you're ready, we will launch that puppy live,
Just go live,
and
start
you can
cranking them
start getting
out.
the bookings fast.
Yeah, there we go. Just in time for spring break and the summer and, make some money.
See, and that's gonna be so awesome because then hopefully you're making way more in revenue because you're actually caring about your property more. So increase revenue. Then you don't have to pay property management fees. So then that's more margin that you get to keep. And then, yeah, you just get so much more flexibility and insights into your property to make like custom fine tuning to just drive the best results where like you don't know what that guy was even doing behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah, I've done literally no idea. And there'd be times where I'd get on a call with them and ask and like, "Oh, well, there's the shark attacks that really hurt us." And I'm like, "Well, it's the winter and sharks have already migrated."
Oh my gosh.
Well, like,
Is that the
and
shark
then
attacks hurt him?
yeah, yeah. They're saying that, and then, like he was like saying that we'd get a snowbird in for, January or February, and he was like, "Oh, already got like 3 lined up," and none of those played out, and so I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how I feel about snowbirds in the first place, just from someone being in there for like a whole month and not being very home. So, but anyways, I just was hoping for a little bit more. So, what I'm excited to
Well,
see uh,
I am
this
very
fall.
optimistic for you. I mean, again, I've got one like a mile away from you. Hunter's got two right there. So we know that market super well. Like we're gonna be with you like the whole journey and making sure that you are successful. But I would say like, now we've just kind of talked about the systems and processes and stuff. Really the keys to your success after that is like your cleaner is probably like the number one person you want to get connected with and like build an incredible relationship with because you want them to like make sure the property looks amazing for that guest experience. And 2, let them be your eyes and ears of the property, like, let you know when stuff breaks or, needs attention. And so I've got an incredible cleaner, her name's Roxana, that would love to do your condo too, if you want her. She charges for a 3-bedroom, $250 a clean. So for a smaller condo, I don't know, maybe like 175, 150
Yeah,
potentially. And then Hunter, I bet he's got a
yeah,
couple.
he's got
Um,
one too that you'd had recommended. Yeah,
has he said how much his charge for 2
he
bedrooms?
told me a while back. I need to look back and see what it was, but yeah, I think it was in that $200 range, probably.
Okay.
Which, I mean, a lot of that's just pass-through cost to the end renter though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at gross revenue, so we were looking at yours, I think we thought yours could make somewhere around 50,000, maybe up to 60,000 max. So your cleaning fee is included in that, gross revenue, which I would probably estimate, I don't know, like 7 to 8, maybe $9,000 of that is probably gonna be like cleaning fee. So if you're making 60 grand, you're probably, call it 50 net, or if you're making 50, probably like 40, 42 net. That's probably what you could expect on a yearly cleaning expense.
Yeah, and to give you some context, so, we came on in July, so we had, like, 5.5 months probably of renting, and we ended the year with about 7.
And you
And
did what?
we ended
Oh,
the year with about
7,000 total?
7,000, yeah, in gross, and so, I think after that was after management fees, though, so I think it was closer to, like, 10 or maybe 11, but, yeah, I think we're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Well, That's a bummer for sure. But what's gonna be fun is, we're having this conversation now. It'd be fun after, your summer months, coming back in the fall to see what the outcome looks like after you manage it and the revenue you see. Because I think your eyes are gonna be like, "Whoa," especially during, like, May, June, July, maybe a little bit of August. I mean, I was still getting some bookings in, like, September, October, November, some December. So it'll be fun to come back to this and see the results. Maybe we'll have to do this again and,
Oh, yeah. No,
see
for
what the
sure. I
outcome
mean,
actually looks like.
I would love to do that. So, I mean, look back on, where how nervous I was getting into it, and then, now, hopefully this time next year, I'll be like, "That's a piece of cake," you know?
That's a piece of cake, baby.
Why didn't I do that right from the get-go, you
So,
know?
heck yeah. Well, before we get off, just a couple more things. So, we talked about cleaner being kind of the number one, person for you locally. The number 2 thing, which we talked about a second ago, is your handyman. I've got one. I think Hunter has the same handyman, David,
Yeah,
out
I think,
there.
yeah, you'll have the same one, yeah.
Do you still have, contact info with the handyman that you worked with last time?
No, I mean, it's my property manager's, like, personal, like, I think he works for them,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I don't know if I'd be able to use him or not, so
Okay. So we've got a guy you can use who's really good. He drives in from, like, I think Destin. A lot of the guys kinda drive in 'cause honestly, Seaside is very expensive, so they kinda have to live further out 'cause of how just the prices. So he's good that we could connect you with. So you've already got really, that's when you go to a new place, like, that's the hardest thing is, like, finding a cleaner, handyman. I mean, you're literally being spoon-fed this stuff. It's gonna be easy for you, baby.
right, I
Um
don't find them myself, I can just use y'all's people.
it's gonna be easy. And so, I mean, once you have that, I mean, that's kinda all you need. And then what I like to do is I like to set up a group text on my phone and have, like, some fun emoji so I can, like, see it real easy, like the Field House or, the Peach Street House, like some of my Airbnbs. So Peach Street House has, like, a little peach on there, so when I'm scanning, I can find it real quick, and that way, like, if something comes up, there's urgent, like, I can find it, and I go to my group text with my cleaner, and my wife's on there too. So I know Megan said she may wanna be more hands off, but it probably would be good to keep her in the loop if she's cool with it, and do a group text with you, Megan, and your cleaner, and then a group text with you, Megan, and the handyman, and that way she's in the loop, even if she's not doing anything, but kind of aware of what's happening. And if you ever get in a spot where you like are in a meeting at work and can't do it, she could always jump in and at least support a little bit. And
Okay.
it's, like a 5-minute fix. Like
Yeah,
if the
I mean,
Wi-Fi's out or something.
yeah, she's more than willing, I think, to do that. She just don't wanna have to, like, I think put it I mean, her fears are my fears, right? They're pretty aligned is just the time that it's gonna take when she's, like, doing her job and watching the girls and all that stuff, so but, she had that she was a little bit more skeptical at first of, like, helping, take the property management over, but I think after us going and visiting the condo with the girls and, she's very much on board with wanting to make this a success, so, I think she's more than willing now to jump in and start helping with some of that.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you kind of the outcome you'll experience after this. Once you do the hard part of getting all this set up, I mean, I've got 4 properties that we manage, no property managers, and I mean, we probably spend like 10 minutes a week.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all like on autopilot. Like my cleaners now, they send me Venmo requests. I literally just go accept them and it sends payment. Where used to, they would send me an invoice. I'd have to like figure it out, like go to but, like, now I'm like, "Hey, send me requests on Venmo." I want it automated, like, I just have to click, like, 2 buttons and boom. So that's the name of the game is everything you do, try to, like, streamline it, automation. There's gonna be a couple things you gotta do, but most of it, honestly, can just be, like, automated
So
with systems in place.
with your cleaner, does she see, like, when there's bookings and stuff, or do you have to notify her every single time there's a booking? Or, like, because like, when there's checkout and say, like, you got one that's leaving and then the one that's coming the same day, does she yeah, so how does that part work?
Yeah, on Hospitable and Guesty, and again, there's some other ones out there too, like Host Away. what you do is you send them your, calendar link to your PMS system, your calendar, and they've got full access to your calendar. They don't see your pricing and all that stuff unless you want them to, but they can see when there's bookings and when there's turnovers so that they can plan their days. And so, yeah, they know exactly when it's all happening. It's funny, uh, in Fredericksburg and Seaside, I mean, honestly, all my properties, I was like super like nervous and kind of like anal about stuff in the beginning. So like every time there's a checkout, I was like, hey, just a reminder, they're clean today. And or when there's a turnover, hey, just a reminder. And Alfredo and I talked a couple of years later, and I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, you remember when you used to, like, text me every time?" And I'm like, "It's like, sorry, man, I was just, like, scared you were gonna forget." And he's like, "Hey, I get it. Most new owners are." So, the thing is, a lot of these cleaners are very sophisticated, and they know, like, hey, they're on top of their game. So, I would say in the beginning, when you're building trust, like, just say, "Hey, the first, like, 30, 60, 90 days, like, y'all are gonna communicate most of the time." But once they're doing it, you can start to, like, stop texting as much and just make sure, and then it gets to a point where, like, you can just trust them, man, on all of this stuff. Oh, there is a service out there called Turno you could check out that basically automates the cleaning stuff, but the bummer about it is it's kind of like a bidding system for cleaners, so you don't really
Oh,
know, like, who your cleaners are,
yeah, I think I'd
and they
wanna
take the
keep the
fee out of
same
it.
one. Yeah.
So, I mean, some people love it. I've decided to not use it because I like to have, like, one cleaner that I really like and build that relationship with them, but it's another option if you wanna check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be great. And then do your cleaners, do you have a closet or something that, or do they bring in their own supplies?
A little bit of both. So you'll have an owner's closet, most likely. You probably already have one, right?
Yeah, I'm an owner's closet, so I just didn't know if, like, I should give just because we keep our own stuff in there, for when we go to the beach. We got some, like, just, the stuff that we like to use when we go to the beach, speakers and, stuff like that, and then a couple, like, nicer bottles of bourbon or something,
Gotta
Um,
have that stuff.
yeah, so, I just didn't, know did so do you give them a key to your owner's closet to use? And
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we make a copy of that, and then Amazon supplies in either to the condo or to the cleaner's house, depending on, like, if Amazon has issues delivering, and, they'll keep toilet paper, paper towels, all that stuff, coffee in the owner's closet, and then you'll probably wanna talk to your cleaner and ask, like, what we decided to do instead of getting, like, huge shampoo bottles where they're, like, squirting in and out and stuff, you can get, like, shampoo that you put on the showers that are, like, you just,
oh,
like,
yeah, the installed
can
ones?
deposit out and then just go refill it, or our cleaner in Seaside started getting those little, like, shampoo packages and soaps, and that way it feels more like a hotel experience, more, like, nice and boutiquey. But it just kinda depends, like, what you wanna do, but that our cleaner picks all that stuff up for us, and we just reimburse her for that cost.
Oh, okay, nice.
The other thing you could do is, we do a gift basket and a bottle of wine for our field house property, like, with, like, chips and salsa and, some, like, chocolates and a wine, but that's because we make a lot bigger margins on that property, but it is kind of a nice thing to provide to guests to, like, start their experience. So you may wanna think about, like, maybe just, like, a fun little thing you can do for guests as, like, a welcome. I mean, it could be even pretty cheap.
Yeah, I thought about that, like, like a koozies and like the 38 beer is big down there, or, starting them with a 6 pack of that or something. But so if I did do something like that, with the cleaner, do you think she'd be willing to, like, pick up like a 6 pack of beer and do that every single time? Or is this something would it be more so better to have like red wine where it can stay in a closet and doesn't have to be refrigerated?
Yeah, beer's tough because, uh, well, one, I'm not sure, like, I mean, if you have families and stuff,
Mhm.
um,
That's true, yeah.
it might be a little tougher. I mean, you could try it for sure. But yeah, it does need to be refrigerated. But wine, like, yeah, you can put that in your owner's closet and just like pulling out. And you don't have to do it for every guest. You could just do it for like more special occasions or the ones that are paying higher money during like the summer months. But it is more versatile for sure.
Right.
But I mean, test. everything out, see what happens.
Okay, sweet.
Um,
I'm getting excited, man. It's
I
gonna
love
be
it,
good.
man. Well, I know, you had questions about, like, it sounds like your property manager's taking sheets and all sorts of stuff, so I'll follow up with you after this and give you, like, a good list of links and things that you can have to just, like, easily go to Amazon and, like, purchase sheets, towels, all sorts of nice stuff. I got a lot of great recommendations from Summer Led, who helped me, deck out my house in College Station. They were absolutely incredible and gave us some really great ideas for the things that we could do for our property. So I'll share some of that with you so that you can, um, leverage some of that as well.
Sweet, man. I'm excited.
So, all right, man. Any final thoughts before we jump off?
Man, one, thank you for guiding me in this time. I think that this is going to be a huge step in me kind of taking it over. If honestly, if I didn't have you coaching me right now, I wouldn't know what to do or start with. I mean, I know Airbnb and VRBO, but the price labs, the property management system, like the cleaners, I think I would be very much overwhelmed if I was doing this without some guidance. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk me through it.
You bet, man. I remember, man, my first one, I wish I woulda had that through that journey. I had to, like, go find all this information on Instagram and, like, random contacts I could find, and so, anyway, I'm happy to do it because it's something I wish I woulda had, and I bet, and I hope one day, when you're super successful doing all this stuff that you can do the same for others, and that's really the reason I do it is, I've been blessed by, other amazing mentors and people helping me, and I wanna do the same for, others, and hopefully, when you're successful too with your short-term rentals, you're already successful in business. But with short-term rentals, hopefully you can help some others and be successful as well.
There we go. Dude, I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Well, we will have you back on hopefully in about a year and see how this goes.
Oh, it's gonna crush it. It's gonna crush it. I
Okay,
know it.
big. Go dominate. I can't wait to stay there.
Man, appreciate it.
Okay. See you, brother.